Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow seekers of truth, have you ever faced a moment when silence spoke louder than words? When restraint became more potent than rage? When the most profound act was simply to walk away? This isn't about anger. It's about wisdom. It's not about pride. It's about power. In life, there are battles we don't need to fight because God has already declared the outcome. You see, you don't need to explain yourself to those who never intended to understand. You certainly don't need to keep nurturing relationships that only bring drought to your soul. The most powerful action you can take in this season is to stop reacting and start releasing. Cut them off, not with noise, but with an unwavering sense of peace. Sometimes, the loudest response is no response at all. Your absence can become your most formidable weapon. There are individuals who feed off your energy, who thrive on your reaction, who find perverse pleasure in provoking you just to witness you lose control. But when you consciously choose silence, you reclaim your authority. When you decide to walk away, you embrace your inherent peace. And when you quietly sever ties, you declare to the heavens and to your own soul, I trust God more than I trust my fleeting emotions. I will not allow someone else's dysfunction to disturb my divinely appointed peace. God observes their whispers behind your back. He knows how they smile to your face while stabbing you when you turned away. He heard the lies, the manipulation, the mockery. While your heart may cry out for justice, let your spirit cry out for discipline. God doesn't need your reaction, He requires your obedience. Sometimes, in our zealous efforts to defend ourselves, we inadvertently delay God's perfect judgment. When you attempt to make them feel your pain, you interfere with what God is already orchestrating. And make no mistake, God doesn't need your help. He needs your complete surrender. Perhaps there are people God instructed you to release long ago, yet you held on, didn't you? You harbored hopes they would change, awaken, treat you differently, apologize, or finally value your presence. Yet, here you are again, drained, disappointed, and discarded. How many times will you return to what broke you before recognizing that God is unequivocally calling you out of that destructive cycle? That is bondage. That isn't patience. It's self-abandonment. And God did not place you on this earth to be another person's punching bag or emotional garbage can. Cut them off, not with hatred, but with a profound sense of healing. Not with arrogance, but with the rock-solid assurance that God is undeniably with you. Understand this. Some people are merely seasonal. They were never meant to accompany you to the next level, never assigned to your future. They were simply a part of your process, and once their role is complete, you must be absolutely willing to release them. You don't need to curse them, nor do you need to expose them. Simply and quietly remove yourself, and then profoundly let God do the rest. Let Him deal with their heart, their conscience, their very soul. You don't need to soil your hands attempting to right every wrong. God is the great equalizer, and He will repay. Reaction is often the enemy's bait. He seeks to provoke you into acting out of character, into sabotaging your blessings, into forfeiting your precious peace. But when you steadfastly resist that temptation, when you maintain your composure amidst chaos, you send an unequivocal message to the spiritual realm. I am no longer moved by the flesh. I am governed by something infinitely greater. I am anchored in the unshakable power of God. I will not grant you the satisfaction of witnessing you lose control. I will not give you the thrill of murder. I will keep my peace because my peace is not a weakness. It is a weapon. There is profound strength in silence, undeniable dignity in detachment, and immense power in walking away without uttering a single word. Not because you are cold-hearted, but because you are clear-minded. You comprehend that your energy is sacred, your time invaluable, your spirit precious. You will no longer cast your pearls before swine. You will no longer beg for love. You will no longer plead for respect. If they fail to see your worth, it is not your responsibility to convince them. God has already called you chosen. God has already set you apart. And when God favors you, no human rejection can possibly undo that divine decree. Some individuals can only access you because you persistently keep the door open. You continue answering their calls, responding to their messages, entertaining the same tired drama. Each time you return, you unwittingly teach them that your boundaries are merely suggestions. But enough is enough. You must draw the line. You must teach your soul how to detach. You must teach your heart that love does not, under any circumstances, mean tolerating pain. God never commanded you to be loyal to what is toxic. He never called you to be faithful to dysfunction. Some of you hesitate to cut people off because you fear appearing as the bad person. Wow. But let me tell you something profoundly important. Your healing is not a crime. Your growth is not an offense. And your boundaries are not disrespectful. They are absolutely necessary. Cut them off and don't feel the need to explain it. Cut them off and don't feel compelled to justify it. Cut them off and let the silence speak volumes, because silence has an uncanny ability to reveal what noise desperately tries to conceal. In stillness, people begin to hear their own conscience. In quiet, they start to feel the profound weight of their actions. What you could never communicate with words, God will make them feel through your powerful absence. Some individuals will never truly realize your value until your presence becomes a mere memory. Some will never appreciate your unwavering loyalty until they experience life without your consistent support. Let God teach them what your presence once taught them for free. Stop trying to mend what God is actively trying to end. Stop attempting to revive relationships God has buried for your ultimate protection. Stop giving CPR to dead situations. When God closes a door, He is not soliciting your opinion. He is calling you higher. He is calling you out of the shadows, out of the debilitating cycles, out of the sorrow. Do not mourn over what God has removed. Instead, rejoice that you have finally been released. You were never created to live in bondage to someone else's brokenness. God yearns to elevate you, but elevation always requires separation. You simply cannot ascend higher if you're dragging dead weight behind you. Some of you are losing sleep, not due to stress, but because your spirit is vehemently fighting what your flesh stubbornly keeps feeding. You know, deep down, they are not good for you. You know they drain you, belittle you, manipulate you. Yet, you stubbornly hold on, hoping they'll miraculously change. Meanwhile, God is gently whispering, let them go. Stop confusing your divine assignment. You are not their healer. You are not their savior. You are not their emotional rehab center. You are a sacred vessel of God's purpose, and every precious second you waste trying to fix what is not yours to fix, you delay your magnificent destiny. People will inevitably say you've changed, let them talk. People will say you're cold, let them whisper. People will say you're selfish, let them gossip. But only you and God truly know the immeasurable cost of your peace. Only you and God truly understand what you've endured in silence. Only you and God comprehend what it truly took to finally choose yourself. And choosing yourself, my friends, is not selfish. It is stewardship. It is diligently protecting the temple God has graciously given you. It is honoring the life God has entrusted to you. But you cannot pour into others when you are running on empty. You cannot lift others when you are buried under their burdens. You must rise. And sometimes rising unequivocally means leaving people behind. Not everyone can go where God is taking you. Some individuals were assigned to your past, not your glorious future. Some were merely a part of your test, not your powerful testimony. And if you persistently try to drag them into your destiny, they will only delay your breakthrough. Let them go, not with hatred, but with holiness. Not with bitterness, but with firm, clear boundaries. Because God is actively trying to make room for something far greater. And as long as your hands remain full of what is merely familiar, you will be utterly unable to receive what is truly divine. There's a time to speak, and there is a time to be absolutely silent. There is a time to confront, and there is a time to strategically retreat. There is a time to fight, and there's a time to simply walk away. The difference, my friends, is discernment, and true discernment comes directly from God. When you are truly attuned to God's voice, you will cease falling for every trap the enemy sets. You will stop reacting out of unhealed wounds and begin responding with profound wisdom. You will stop needing external closure because you will realize that God is your ultimate closure. And when God closes a chapter, no man, no matter how powerful, can ever reopen it. You owe no one access to your peace. You owe no one an explanation for your healing. You owe no one the sacrifice of your sanity. Some of you have given too much, tolerated too long, endured too deeply. It is time to stop. Not with rage, not with revenge, but with profound reverence for the God who is calling you out. The God who is gently yet powerfully saying, "Be still and know that I am your defender." You don't need to clap back. You don't need to prove a point. God will speak louder than any words you could ever utter. There is healing in detachment. There is restoration in release. And there is victory in silence. Let your growth be your eloquent answer. Let your peace be your undeniable response. Let your distance be your powerful declaration. Because when God sets you apart, no one can keep you trapped. When God separates you for His divine purpose, He removes what no longer serves Him. Trust Him. Why does He die? Trust Him. Trust the silence. Trust the distance. Once it's tonight, or it's so. One little night from near draining, where there's senses at work. It's stood by one track, a word nor air. Trust the cutoff. It is not punishment, it is protection. It is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is not abandonment, it is alignment. So walk away, child of God, not because you hate them, but because you have finally, truly, deeply loved yourself. Not because you're proud, but because you're finally wise. Not because you're better, but because you are ready, ready to grow, ready to heal, ready to rise. And as you rise, may you rise in profound silence. Let the world wonder why. Let the heavens rejoice, for you are no longer a prisoner to your past. You are a vigilant steward of your peace, and your peace, your sacred, holy, God-given peace. is worth infinitely more than any argument, any explanation, or any apology you never receive. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them twist the truth. Because God knows. God saw. And God heard. It came. It did. And God will handle it. You just keep walking, keep rising, keep choosing peace, and keep trusting silence. For in the silence, God is speaking. In the stillness, God is moving. Hey! And in your surrender, God is working. Let them go and let God work. There are moments in life when the loudest, most impactful message you can possibly send is your silence. Not the kind that is empty or bitter, but the kind that is overflowing with power and deeply rooted in trust. Trust that God sees what man cannot, hears what man conceals, and acts precisely when your strength has run out. You don't always have to raise your voice to make an impact. Here's something easy to know. Sometimes God brings victory not through noise, but through quiet, unwavering obedience. When you cease reacting to every insult, every betrayal, every manipulation, you declare with your very life, I no longer bow to chaos. I rise in peace because God is my refuge. Let them misunderstand you. Let them twist your silence into arrogance. Let them call your peace weakness. But you, my friend, know the profound truth. God is guiding you away from what diminishes you and into what truly strengthens you. What often feels like isolation is, in fact, God's divine preservation. He is pulling you back, not to punish you, but to lovingly protect you from people and environments that are poisoning your soul. You may feel like you're losing people, but in reality, you are gaining profound clarity. When God removes someone, it is not always a subtraction. It is frequently a divine multiplication. He is adding to your glorious future by subtracting what simply doesn't belong in it. God never intended for you to chase people who don't cherish your spirit. He didn't design you to beg for connection where there is only confusion. The longer you continue trying to convince someone of your worth, the further you drift from the immeasurable worth God has already declared over your life. Stop explaining your heart to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. God is not asking you to make them understand. He is asking you to understand that your peace is a precious gift, not a bargaining chip. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Your warmth, your light, your very presence, they are sacred. And when people show you they don't value it, simply believe them. Sometimes, silence is God's masterful way of sharpening your discernment. In the stillness, He reveals the true nature of the people around you. Not everyone who smiles at you is truly for you. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to stay. Some are merely spectators in your grand story, and when their part is over, their continued presence becomes a significant distraction. Do not grieve over their exit. Rejoice that God is actively clearing the path for something far greater. When you sever what is not in, you make abundant room for what He has truly ordained. But you must be willing to sacrifice comfort for the sake of peace, willing to lose familiarity for the sake of growth, willing to release people for the sake of God Himself. A silent cutoff is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is a powerful declaration that your soul will no longer be held hostage by inconsistency, that your days of entertaining confusion are over, that your time of tolerating betrayal in the name of loyalty has absolutely expired. Loyalty to God must always come before loyalty to man. Wow. If someone continually disrupts your peace, disrespects your presence, and disregards your value, it is no longer disloyal to let them go. In fact, it becomes disobedient to hold on. God cannot bless what you stubbornly refuse to release. He cannot elevate you while you remain entangled in what keeps you beneath your divine potential. Do not fear the silence. The silence is precisely where God reveals His profound strength. In the absence of constant noise, you will hear clear direction. In the absence of destructive voices, you will hear His invaluable wisdom. And in the absence of the wrong people, you will unmistakably discover your right purpose. You're not called to fix everyone. You are not called to fix everyone. You are not called to rescue every soul. That is a burden far too heavy for any human shoulder. You are called to walk in perfect alignment with God's will, even if it means walking alone for a season, even if it means being misunderstood, even if it means being called cold or distant. The opinions of man are temporary, but the voice of God is eternal. And when He says, cut them off, He means it not to harm you, but to profoundly heal you. Some of you are wondering why your life feels stuck, why your prayers seem delayed, why your strength feels drained. The answer is not always in what you're doing. Sometimes it's in who you're keeping around you. You're trying to carry people God never assigned you to carry. You're building with bricks that were never part of your true foundation. You're fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Let God fight for you. Let God expose what needs to be revealed. Let God remove what you're too attached to release. There is immense power in stepping back and simply letting God show you who they truly are. You must cease tying your worth to someone else's treatment of you. Their inability to honor you does not in any way reduce the infinite value God has placed on you. If someone rejects you, it does not mean you aren't worthy. It simply means they are blind to your divine worth. If someone walks away from you, it is not always abandonment. It may be God's direct intervention. He sees what you cannot. He hears what they say when you are not in the room. He knows their true intentions, even when they smile in your face. Let Him remove them, and do not fight to keep what God is actively cleansing from your life. You must learn to bless people in your heart, and then decisively back away in your actions. Let them go without cursing them. Let them go without bitterness. But let them go completely. No more checking up on them in secret. They sing. No more second chances when they've abused the first 10. No more reopening wounds God has already closed. When you walk away with unwavering resolve. When you cut off with profound peace. Not with a war, not with a scene, but with absolute dignity. Because you're not just walking away from them, you're walking directly toward God. And when you arrive at that quiet place, you will realize that the peace you longed for was never found in their apology. It was found in your release. You were never meant to live in the chaos they brought. You were meant to live in the glorious peace God freely gives. And that peace begins with one resolute decision: to no longer engage in what drains your spirit, to no longer invest in what never poured back into you. to no longer lower your standards just to keep people who never genuinely raised you up. The person who chooses silence over reaction is not weak. They are wise. The person who chooses to walk away instead of retaliate is not passive. They are powerful. Because nothing terrifies the enemy more than a person who adamantly refuses to lose their peace. When you stop reacting, you stop feeding the fire. When you stop responding, you starve the enemy's destructive agenda. And when you cut off quietly, you powerfully shift your focus from the problem to the provider, from the distraction to the deliverer, from the chaos to the creator. So, let your life speak for you. Let your silence testify. Let your calm become your unwavering resistance. Let your growth become your greatest revenge. You don't need to throw stones. You just need to keep building. Build character. Build your faith. Build your purpose. Build your future. Build your future. Wow. And as you build, let the ones who underestimated you watch. Let the ones who used you feel the profound loss of your presence, not because you want to hurt them, but because they desperately need to learn that God's child is not to be played with. You are God's investment. You are God's vessel. You are God's assignment. You are far too important to be distracted by people who don't truly see the immense weight of your calling. You are far too valuable to be entangled in drama that keeps you from your destiny. You are far too anointed to be bound by the approval of others. It's time to move differently, to walk in quiet authority, to trust that silence, when backed by God, is exponentially louder than any argument. And when the time comes when they finally realize what they lost, may they see not a bitter heart, but a better one. A heart refined by God, strengthened by silence, and rooted in an unshakable peace. You do not need their closure. You need clarity. You do not need their confession. You need God's confirmation, and He has already spoken. He has already shown you what you needed to see. Now it's time to act. Cut off with grace. Walk away with strength. And never, ever look back. Because what's ahead is far greater than what's behind. What God is preparing is far greater than what people have destroyed. What God is shaping in you is infinitely more important than who you're letting go of. God will honor your silence. Yea, and in such engage, God will reward your restraint. God will lift you where others tried to pull you down. Trust Him. What is doing it say? On where this shimmering abilities. Trust the path, even when it feels lonely. Trust the silence, even when it's misunderstood. Trust the separation, even when it hurts. Because in that quiet place, God will build you stronger. In that secret place, God will prepare you deeper. And when He brings you out, you will not be bitter. You will be better. You will not be broken. You will be whole. And you will know without a shadow of a doubt that the silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. It was the unmistakable voice of God calling you higher. There is something profoundly sacred about the person who learns to guard their peace with absolute discipline. Not because they are cold, but because they are finally awake. Awake to the immense weight of their calling. Awake to the invaluable worth of their time. Awake to the insidious schemes of the enemy who uses people, not always as visible enemies with swords, but as subtle thieves of joy, energy, and purpose. And when God opens your eyes to this profound truth, it becomes utterly impossible to live as you did before. What energy you once squandered trying to explain yourself, defend yourself, justify your very presence to people who were never meant to understand your unique spirit. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. Yeah. God does not call you to be everywhere for everyone at all times. He is not glorified in your exhaustion. He is not honored in your depletion. He calls you to be wise, not worn out. He calls you to be fruitful, not frustrated. And sometimes, in order to walk in that divine flow, you must make holy decisions that others simply won't comprehend. You must choose your peace over popularity. You must choose your purpose over people-pleasing. And you must choose your stillness over the storms others desperately tried to drag you into. Because the person who can remain calm in the middle of a raging storm is not weak. They are covered. There's nothing more unsettling to someone who seeks to provoke you than your resolute refusal to react. When you no longer rise to the bait, when you no longer flinch at the insult, when you no longer open the door to what once disturbed your very soul, you powerfully take your power back. You demonstrate that your peace does not originate from man. It comes directly from God. That your strength is not found in the noise, it is rooted in the profound stillness. That your confidence is not in control, but in absolute surrender. For it is only when you truly surrender to God that you learn how to walk away with calm, with class, with courage. Cutting people off silently is not always about them. It is fundamentally about you. It's about honoring the quiet, persistent voice in your soul that whispers, "You don't belong here anymore." That inner knowing, that divine whisper, is God redirecting your steps, not out of vengeance, but out of a magnificent vision for where you are going. Not everyone can follow where you're headed. You need clarity. You need strength. You need purity of spirit. And if someone continually does that, God will prompt you to release them. Not loudly, not with drama, but with a profound peace. Peace that says, "I love you, but I love God's plan for me even more." When you stop reacting, you stop giving people access to your emotional triggers. And you begin to starve the dysfunction that once held a powerful grip on you. And in that starvation, something truly powerful happens. Your discernment grows exponentially. You no longer confuse chaos with passion. You no longer accept inconsistency as love. You no longer mistake loud voices for genuine loyalty. Instead, you become firmly grounded in truth. God becomes your infallible compass. You begin to measure people not by how they make you feel in fleeting moments of charm, but by how they make you feel in moments of silence, struggle, and profound truth. God is not asking you to be rude. He's asking you to be wise. To no longer cast what is holy into hands that will trample it. To no longer explain your boundaries to those who only seek to break them. To no longer accommodate what insults your sacred spirit. And when you finally reach that powerful place, when you are willing to walk away without needing a response, you are stepping into a profound spiritual maturity. A maturity that doesn't seek to win arguments, but to win peace. A maturity that doesn't need to control the narrative, because it trusts that God already knows the absolute truth. You cannot carry oil in cracked vessels. And there are people who, no matter how kind you are to them, will constantly leak your peace. You pour and pour, and they never retain. Wooka, that is not your fault. That is not your burden. That is a clear signal, a divine sign that you are trying to fill what only God can truly repair. And when God gives you that invaluable insight, you must act. Cut them off, not out of hate, but out of profound reverence. Not out of malice, but out of unwavering obedience. Because continued connection to broken things only contaminates the precious oil of your calling. God cannot fill what you persistently keep leaking. God is a God of order, and where there is disorder, He brings correction. Sometimes that correction is not a loud thunderclap. It is a quiet separation, a gentle closing of doors, a silent shift in relationships, a still movement that removes access without fanfare. Learn to recognize it. Do not mourn the people God removes when you asked Him to increase your peace. Do not weep over disconnections when you prayed for clarity. He is answering in ways that protect you far more than you can possibly comprehend. You asked for discernment, He gave you distance. You asked for strength, He gave you silence. And in that silence, He is building you for something far greater. Let this profound truth sink deep into your spirit. Peace is your confirmation. Peace is your permission. When God gives you peace about letting someone go, that is the only answer you ever truly need. You do not require a mutual agreement. You do not require a conversation that leads to external closure. You do not need to explain your side. When the peace of God settles in your heart like a still wind on troubled waters, you will know. That knowing is sacred. Honor it, and do not second guess the release just because it hurts. Some of the most powerful decisions you will ever make will come with tears. Tears do not mean the decision was wrong. They mean it was real. It means your soul is adjusting to the immense weight of your growth. Let the tears fall. Let the silence settle. And let the old version of you die quietly, so the new, radiant, you can rise without apology. There it is, a divine reason. God commands stillness. In the stillness, He speaks what chaos relentlessly drowns out. In the stillness, He restores what people tried to steal. In the stillness, He sharpens your vision. If the enemy cannot destroy you, he will undoubtedly distract you. And often his greatest weapon is a person. A voice that sounds good but ultimately leads you away from your true purpose. A presence that feels familiar but keeps you perpetually stuck in a debilitating cycle. And the only way out is silence. When you stop explaining, defending, proving, you start healing. You start listening. You start hearing what God has been trying to tell you all along. Stop reopening doors that God has sealed. Stop revisiting conversations that only bring confusion. Stop allowing people to keep access to your peace while they relentlessly pollute your spirit. You are not rude for drawing the line. You are righteous for protecting what is holy. And your peace is holy. Your mind is holy. Your space is holy. Your purpose is holy. Let the silence be a sanctuary. Let the cutoff be a consecration. You are not rejecting people. You are responding to God. God is calling you higher. Higher. That calling cannot be fulfilled while you are weighed down by distractions, dressed in false loyalty. Not everyone who walks with you is walking toward God. Some walk close just to delay you. Some smile just to study you. Some stay near just to keep you near confusion. But God is not the author of confusion. He is the author of peace. And when He stirs your spirit to step away, obey without hesitation. Your peace depends on it. Your calling demands it. Your destiny requires it. Silence is not an absence of power. It is the presence of discipline. It is undeniable proof that you are no longer led by flesh, but by spirit. And when you walk in the Spirit, you will cease reacting to what doesn't deserve your precious energy. You will cease engaging with what doesn't deserve your powerful voice. You will cease defending yourself to people who were never meant to be part of your divine purpose. Walk away and let your fruit speak for you. Let your character testify. Let your future echo the profound wisdom of your silence. You are not abandoning anyone by choosing peace. You are not betraying anyone by honoring your growth. You are not being selfish by stepping into the quiet where God intimately meets you. Let the noise fade. Let the distractions fall. Let the unnecessary conversations die. There is profound work to be done in your soul, and that work cannot be done in the noise of conflict, chaos, and constant compromise. It must be done in silence, in solitude, in sacred separation. That is where God molds warriors. That is where God equips His chosen. That is where God lifts you. And when the silence becomes deafening, when the separation feels like true solitude, remember this vital truth. God does His deepest work in hidden places. The seed grows not in sunlight, but in darkness. Roots take hold beneath the surface, unseen by human eyes, untouched by public opinion. God is not absent in your stillness. He is profoundly active. He is digging deep within you, cutting away attachments that choked your faith, pruning away relationships that bore no fruit, and preparing you for a season of unparalleled clarity, unwavering purpose, and divine elevation. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. When you choose not to react, you are not losing your voice. You are finding your absolute authority. You are telling the world that your emotions are no longer your master, that your peace is not up for negotiation, and that your time is far too sacred to waste on arguments that hold no eternal value. There is a profound wisdom that comes directly from God that will teach you precisely when to speak and when to stay silent. That wisdom is your weapon. That silence is your shield. And when God covers you in His peace, no accusation, no gossip, no misunderstanding can ever shake your very foundation. There are people who will never understand your silence because they have never tasted the liberating freedom of letting go. They confuse your calm with coldness, your boundaries with betrayal. But what they do not know is that your silence is not about them. It is about obedience. It is about walking away from what pollutes your spirit, even if the world calls it love. It is about honoring the quiet nudges of God that unequivocally say, this is not your place anymore. You are not cold, you are clear. You are not bitter, you are better. You are not running, you are rising. God is not calling you to fix broken people who adamantly refuse healing. He is not asking you to carry burdens that He never placed on your back. You are not responsible for saving everyone. That is not humility. That is pride wrapped in pain. Only God can heal hearts. Only God can open eyes. Only God can stir repentance. You cannot do for others what they refuse to do with God. And let that immense weight go. You were not created to bleed so others can feel whole. You were created to walk in truth, and truth sometimes separates. And when the cutoff happens, when you finally decide to remove your presence from what no longer serves your growth, expect discomfort. Expect your flesh to fight back. Expect your mind to replay memories, to question your decisions, to wrestle with guilt. But stand firm. Let God remind you that growth often feels like loss, that elevation often looks like isolation, that purification often stings before it soothes. Trust the process. Trust the pain. Trust that what you are leaving behind cannot possibly compare to the peace that is coming. Because when God removes something, He never leaves you empty. He replaces. He restores. He replenishes. God does not want you to react to every attack. He wants you to rise above it. When the enemy sends confusion, keep your clarity. When people stir gossip, keep your grace. When you're slandered, keep your silence. Your silence is not surrender, it is strategy. It tells the enemy, you no longer control my mind. You no longer shake my heart. You no longer steal my sleep. Because the one who is anchored in God knows this profound truth. Nothing spoken against you can ever override what God has already spoken over you. There are battles beneath your dignity. There are conversations beneath your calling. There are arguments that cost far too much peace. And when you realize this, you will stop chasing apologies. You will stop explaining your intentions. You will stop fighting for space in people's lives who never truly made room for your soul. You will move on quietly, gracefully, with your head held high and your spirit intact. Because you are no longer proving yourself to people. You are walking in the undeniable favor of God. God is not asking for your reaction. He's asking for your release. He's asking you to let Him be your defender. Let Him be your voice when others twist your words. Let Him be your justice when wrong is done in secret. Let Him be your covering when others seek your downfall. And the moment you hand it all to God, He takes it personally. He steps in. He vindicates. He elevates. Not because you cried the loudest, but because you trusted the deepest. Do not fear letting go. Do not fear being misunderstood. Do not fear being alone. The presence of people means nothing if they constantly drain your spirit. But the presence of God means everything, even in the silence. There is a quiet place in the soul where God dwells, and when you stop reacting to noise, you start hearing His voice more clearly, that still, steady, undeniable voice that whispers, you don't have to fight this, I already am. Some people were only assigned to test your boundaries. Others were allowed to reveal what still triggers you. But once the lesson is learned, the connection is complete. Wow. So I urge you right now to step into your power, embrace the stillness, and trust the divine process of release. Your peace, your purpose, and your future depend on it. Choose silence. Choose peace. Choose God. Your breakthrough is waiting. As we look towards 2026, Let's empower ourselves with actionable steps that will cultivate even more happiness, success, and fulfillment in our lives. These aren't complicated directives, but rather gentle invitations to embrace practices that nurture your mind, body, and spirit, ensuring your golden years truly shine. 1. Cultivate intentional connections. In an increasingly digital world, the warmth of genuine human connection remains irreplaceable. For 2026, make it a priority to intentionally nurture relationships that uplift, inspire, and bring you joy. This means seeking out quality over quantity. Reach out to old friends, connect with family members, join groups that align with your interests, or even share a kind word with a stranger. It's about being present, truly listening, and sharing your rich life experiences. Remember, the deepest human need is to belong and to be loved. These authentic bonds are the bedrock of happiness and support, reminding us that we are never alone on this incredible journey. Let's commit to building bridges, mending fences, and cherishing the beautiful tapestry of human connection that enriches our lives beyond measure. 2. Embrace lifelong learning and growth. Your mind is a magnificent garden, always ready for new seeds of knowledge to be planted. Success in this chapter isn't measured by career milestones, but by the continuous expansion of your spirit and intellect. For 2026, commit to being a lifelong learner. Pick up that book you've always wanted to read. Explore a new hobby. Learn a new skill, perhaps a language, a musical instrument, or a craft. Engage in discussions, listen to inspiring podcasts, or take an online course. This continuous engagement keeps your mind sharp, your spirit curious, and your world vibrant. It challenges you to adapt, to explore new perspectives, and to remain an active, engaged participant in the unfolding story of life. The joy of discovery is boundless, and the satisfaction of mastering something new is truly exhilarating. 3. Practice mindful gratitude. Happiness isn't about having everything, but about appreciating everything you have. What will be? So, for 2026, let's make mindful gratitude a daily practice, a lens through which you view your world. Start each day by consciously listing 3 things you are genuinely grateful for, no matter how small. It could be the warmth of your morning coffee, a beautiful sunrise, a kind word from a loved one, or simply the gift of another day. This simple act shifts your focus from what might be lacking to the abundance that surrounds you. Gratitude has a profound ripple effect. It reduces stress, improves well-being, and opens your heart to even more blessings. When you actively choose to see the good, you cultivate a profound sense of contentment and joy that becomes a magnet for more positive experiences. 4. Prioritize your well-being. Your body is your temple, and your well-being is the foundation for everything else. For 2026, let's firmly establish self-care as a non-negotiable priority. This encompasses physical activity, healthy eating, adequate rest, and emotional nourishment. It's about moving your body in ways that bring you joy, whether it's walking, gardening, dancing, or gentle exercises. It's about fueling your body with nourishing foods that give you energy and vitality. It's about ensuring you get sufficient restful sleep. And crucially, it's about nurturing your emotional health, spending time in nature, engaging in relaxing hobbies, practicing mindfulness or meditation, and seeking support when needed. Remember, prioritizing your health isn't selfish, it's essential. It empowers you to live life to the fullest with energy, clarity, and resilience, allowing you to truly enjoy every precious moment. 5. Live with purpose and legacy. Every life has a profound purpose, and every day offers an opportunity to build a meaningful legacy. For 2026, reflect on how you can live with an even deeper sense of purpose and contribute to something greater than yourself. This doesn't require grand gestures. It can be as simple as sharing your wisdom with younger generations, volunteering your time for a cause you believe in, offering comfort to someone in need, or simply being a shining example of kindness and integrity. Your experiences, your stories, your very presence are gifts that can enrich the lives of countless others. Living with purpose brings immense satisfaction and a profound sense of meaning. It's knowing that your journey, your actions, and your spirit leave a positive imprint on the world, creating a legacy that echoes far beyond your years. My incredible friends, as we step into 2026, know this: your journey is far from over. It is merely unfolding into its most magnificent chapters. You are equipped with wisdom, resilience, and an inner peace that can withstand any storm. Embrace these 5 keys. Cultivate connections, embrace learning, practice gratitude, prioritize well-being, and live with purpose. These aren't just steps, they are invitations to a life brimming with even more joy, serenity, and profound fulfillment. May your 2026 be a year of clarity, of unexpected blessings, and of deep, abiding peace. Remember the power of your presence, the impact of your wisdom, and the immeasurable value of your unique story. Go forth, my dear friends, with heads held high, hearts full of hope, and spirits radiating the brilliant light that is uniquely yours. The best truly is yet to come. Bye.